The Book of Enoch, Part 2. Chapter 8. And these are the names of the holy angels who keep watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels, namely the holy angel of the spirits of men. Raguel, one of the holy angels who takes vengeance on the world and on the light. Michael, one of the holy angels, namely the one put in charge of the best part of humankind, in charge of the nation. Sarakiel, one of the holy angels who is in charge of the spirits of men who cause spirits to sin. Gabriel, one of the holy angels who is in charge of the serpent and the garden and the cherubim. And I went round to a place where nothing was made, and I saw a terrible thing, neither the high heaven nor the firm ground, but a desert place, prepared and terrible. And there I saw 7 stars of heaven bound on it, together like great mountains, and burning like fire. Then I said, for what sin have they been bound, and why have they been thrown here? And Uriel, one of the holy angels, who was with me and led me, spoke to me and said, Enoch, about whom do you ask? About whom do you inquire, ask, and care? These are some of the stars which transgress the command of the Lord Most High. They have been bound here until 10,000 ages are completed, the number of days of their sin. And from there I went to another place, more terrible than this, and I saw a terrible thing. There was a great fire there, which burnt and blazed, and the place had a cleft, reaching into the abyss, full of great pillars of fire, which were made to fall. Neither its extent nor its size could I see, nor could I see its source. Then I said, how terrible is this place, and how painful to look at. Then Uriel, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered me. He answered me and said to me, Enoch, why do you have such fear and terror because of this terrible place, and before this pain? And he said to me, this place is the prison of angels, and there will be held forever. And from there I went to another place, and he showed me in the west a large high mountain and a hard rock, and 4 beautiful places. And inside it was deep, wide, very smooth. How smooth is that which rolls, and deep and dark to look at. Then Raphael, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered me and said to me, these beautiful places are there so that the spirits, the souls of the dead, might be gathered into them, for they were created so that they might gather the souls of the sons of men. And these places they made, where they will keep them until the day of judgment, and until their appointed time. And that appointed time will be long, until the great judgment comes upon them. And I saw the spirits of the sons of men who were dead, and their voices reached heaven and complained. Then I asked Raphael, the angel who was with me, and said to him, whose is this spirit whose voice thus reaches heaven and complains? And he answered me and said to me, saying, this spirit is the one that came out of Abel, whom Cain, his brother, killed. And he will complain about him until his offspring are destroyed from the face of the earth, and from amongst the offspring of men, his offspring perish. Then I asked about him, and about judgment on all. And I said, why is one separated from one another? And he answered me and said to me, these 3 places were made in order that they might separate the spirits of the dead, and thus the souls of the righteous have been separated.
This is the spring of water, and on it the light. Likewise, a place has been created for sinners when they die and are buried in the earth, and judgment has not come upon them during their life. And here their souls will be separated for this great torment until the great day of judgment and the punishment and torment for those who curse forever, and the vengeance on their souls. And there he will bind them forever. Verily, he is, from the beginning of the world. And thus a place has been separated for the souls of those who complain and give information about their destruction, about when they were killed in the days of the sinners. Thus, a place has been created for the souls of men who are not righteous, but sinners, accomplished in wrongdoing. And with the wrongdoers will be their lot. But their souls will not be killed on the day of judgment, nor will they rise from here.
Then I blessed the Lord of glory and said, Blessed be my Lord, the Lord of glory and righteousness, who rules everything forever. And from there I went to another place towards the west, to the ends of the earth. And I saw a fire that burnt and ran without resting or ceasing from running by day or by night, but continued in exactly the same way. And I asked, saying, What is this which has no rest? Then Raguel, one of the holy angels, who was with me, answered and said to me, This burning fire, whose course you saw towards the west, is the fire of all the lights of heaven. Chapter 9. And from there I went to another place of the earth, and he showed me a mountain of fire that blazed day and night. And I went towards it, and I saw 7 magnificent mountains, and all were different from one another, and precious and beautiful stones, and were precious, and their appearance glorious, and their form was beautiful. 3 towards the east, one fixed firmly on another, and 3 towards the south, one on another, and deep and rugged valleys, no one of which was near another. And there was a 7th mountain in the middle of these, and in their height they were all like the seat of a throne, and fragrant trees surrounded it. And there was among them a tree, such as which I've never smelt, and none of them or any others were like it. It smells more fragrant than any fragrance, and its leaves and its flowers and its wood never wither. Its fruit is good, and its fruit is like bunches of dates on a palm. And then I said, Behold, this beautiful tree, beautiful to look at. Pleasant are its leaves, and its fruit very delightful in appearance. And then Michael, one of the holy and honored angels, who was with me and was in charge of them, answered me and said to me, Enoch, why do you ask me about the fragrance of this tree? And why do you inquire to learn? Then I, Enoch, answered him, saying, I wish to learn about everything, but especially about this tree. And he answered me, saying, This high mountain, which you saw, whose summit is like the throne of the Lord, is where the holy and great one, the Lord of glory, the eternal King, will sit when he comes down to visit the earth for good. And this beautiful and fragrant tree, and no creature of flesh has authority to touch it until the great judgment, when he will take vengeance on all and bring everything to consummation forever. This will be given to the righteous and to the humble. From its fruit, life will be given to the chosen. Towards the north, it will be planted in a holy place by the house of the Lord, the eternal King. Then they will rejoice with joy and be glad in the holy place. They will each draw the fragrance of it into their bones, and they will live a long life on earth as your fathers lived. And in their days, sorrow and pain and toil and punishment will not touch them. Then I blessed the Lord of glory, the eternal King, because he has prepared such things for righteous men, and has created such things, and said that they are to be given to them. And from there I went to the middle of earth, and saw a blessed, well-watered place, which had branches which remained alive, and sprouted from a tree which had been cut down. And there I saw a holy mountain, and under the mountain to the east of it there was water, and it flowed towards the south. And I saw towards the east another mountain, which was of the same height, and between them there was a deep and narrow valley, and in it a stream ran by the mountain. And to the west of this one was another mountain, which was lower than it, and not high, and under it there was a valley between them. And there were other deep and dry valleys at the end of the three mountains. And all the valleys were deep and narrow, and of hard rock, and trees were planted on them. And I was amazed at the rock, and I was amazed at the valley. I was very much amazed. Then I said, what is the purpose of this blessed land, which is completely full of trees, and of its accursed valley in the middle of them? Then Raphael, one of the holy angels who was with me, answered me and said to me,
This accursed valley is for those who are cursed forever. Here they will be gathered together, all who speak with their mouths against the Lord, words that are not fitting, and say hard things about his glory. Here they will gather them together, and here will be their place of judgment. And in the last days there will be a spectacle of the righteous judgment upon them, in front of the righteous, forever. For here the merciful will bless the Lord of glory, the eternal King. And in the days of judgment, on them they will bless him, on the account of his mercy, according as he has assigned to them their lot.
Then I myself blessed the Lord of glory. I addressed him, and I remembered his majesty as was fitting. And from there I went towards the east, to the middle of the mountain of the wilderness. I saw only desert, but it was full of trees from the seed, and water gushed out over it from above. The torrent, which flowed towards the northwest, seemed copious, and from all sides there went up spray and mist. And I went to the other place, away from the wilderness. I came near to the east of this mountain, and there I saw trees of judgment, especially vessels of the fragrance of incense and myrrh. And the trees were not alike. And above the mountains of the east, and not far away, I saw another place, valleys of water, like that which does not fail. And I saw a beautiful tree, and its fragrance was like that of the mastic. And by the banks of these valleys I saw fragrant cinnamon. And beyond those valleys I came towards the east, and I saw another mountain on which there were trees, and there flowed out water, and there flowed out from it, as it were, a nectar whose name is styrax and galbanum. And beyond this mountain I saw another mountain, and on it there were aloe trees, and those trees were full of fruit, which is like an almond, and is hard. And when they take this fruit, it is better than any fragrance. And after these fragrances to the north, as I looked over the mountains, I saw 7 mountains full of fine nard, and fragrant trees of cinnamon and pepper. And from there I went over to the summits of those mountains, far away to the east. And I went over the Red Sea, and I was far from it. And I went over the angel Zotiel. And I came to the garden of righteousness, and I saw beyond those trees many large trees growing there, sweet smelling, large, very beautiful and glorious. The trees of wisdom, from which they eat and know great wisdom. And it is like the carob tree, and its fruit is like bunches of grapes on a vine, very beautiful. And the smell of this tree spreads and penetrates afar. And I said, this tree is beautiful. How beautiful and pleasing is this appearance. And the holy angel Raphael, who was with me, answered me and said to me,
This is the tree of wisdom, from which your ancient father and ancient mother, who were before you, ate and learnt wisdom, and their eyes were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they were driven from the garden.
And from there I went to the ends of the earth, and I saw there large animals, each different from the other, and also birds, which differed in form, beauty, and call, each different from the other. And to the east of these animals I saw the ends of the earth, on which heaven rests, and the open gates of heaven. And I saw how the stars of heaven come out, and counted the gates of which they come, and wrote down all their outlets, for each one, individually, according to their number, and their names, according to their constellations, their positions, their times, and their months, as the angel Uriel who was with me showed me. And from there I went towards the west, to the ends of the earth, and I saw there, as I saw in the east, 3 open gates, as many gates and as many outlets. And from there I went towards the south, to the ends of the earth, and there I saw 3 gates of heaven open, and the south wind, the mist, and rain, and wind come out from there. And from there I went towards the east of the ends of heaven, and there I saw 3 eastern gates of heaven open, and above them there were smaller gates. And he showed me everything, and wrote it down, and also their names he wrote down for me, and their laws, and their functions. And from there I went towards the north, to the ends of the earth, and there I saw great and glorious wonder at the ends of the whole earth. And there I saw 3 gates of heaven. Through each of them north winds go out. When they blow, there is cold, hail, hoarfrost, snow, fog, and rain. And from one gate it blows for good, but when they blow through the other 2 gates, it is with force. It brings torment over the earth, and they blow with force. Through each of these smaller gates, the stars of heaven pass and go towards the west on the path that has been shown to them. And when I saw, I blessed. And I will always bless the Lord of glory, who has made great and glorious wonders, so that he might show the greatness of his work to his angels and to the souls of men, so that they might praise his work, and so that all his creatures might see the work of his power, and praise the great work of his hands, and bless him forever. Real TV.